Welcome back to another YouTube video here today. And if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys leave a like and a subscribe. It don't cost you a dime to subscribe to the channel. I absolutely appreciate you guys watching the video. And we're gonna go on with this new build. So I found this purple class mod the other day, and I thought it was a really cool class mod because it comes with points into Turn of Fate. And I thought it would be pretty interesting to try to make a build of it. So it worked out pretty well, and we're using the crow source. The crow source is pretty good for really good for bossing here. You're gonna want it for like sub and Thol. It works really well there. Takes out them pretty easily. You can take out the first part of Subjugator in like 2 shots. Pretty insane. The hot slugger can be used here for mobbing. It's very, very strong. It can one-shot enemies. You can also use the stray. Stray also works very well here for mobbing, and you use the Swain song too. I have a radiation version currently on this character, even though kinetic would be the best. And then we're also using the Raiden. This is just here for the extra projectile count. So when you kill an enemy with the Raiden, you get extra projectiles. It doesn't work with the dummies, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't work with the dummies. But if you go like kill an enemy, it drops like an extra projectile. So here's an enemy right here. So this guy with this, we kill him fully. See, and it drop this. But sometimes it doesn't want to pick them up automatically. Sometimes it will. And see, and it just adds a few, and then see, we'll add some extra projectiles to our Himdall. And as you can see, the Himdall will just absolutely wreck everything. And as you can see, it just melts everything in a few seconds because it's ridiculous. And then we're using the triple bypass amp rep kit. I recommend getting a mini version for the lowest amount of cooldown, which is really good. And then like I said earlier, we're using the Himdall for mobbing too. That makes mobbing really fast. You can combine it with a Raiden. It's pretty dumb. The spread launcher here can be used. You don't really need the spread launcher. You could swap, like I said, swap this out for like Stray or Swain Song. But I use the spread launcher because spread launcher is pretty fun. And then we're using a order enhancement. So free charger when firing from maximum charge. Gun with order licensed parts have a 30% chance to make the next shot charge time and ammo cost 0. Power shot guns with order licensed parts gain 30% damage when firing maximum charge. This one has gun critical damage and assault rifle critical damage. This is the god roll that you would want for this build, which is really good. And then we're using the triple amp watts for dinner, so we get shock damage on our overshield, which is all the time. And then we're using the puppeteer. This has 4 in Turn of Fate, 1 in Charm Bracelet, and 2 bone meal ticket. What I would keep your eyes out for is damage reduction is pretty nice, but get one with like, a bunch of gun damage boosts, and probably 4 in Turn of Fate is enough. And I'd say 3 in bone meal ticket would be really nice, for you can get more axial rotation when you kill an enemy for your bone totem, so you can get even more gun damage really fast. You can get 1000% gun damage like super fast with this build as it is, so pretty insane. And then we're using 3 active fires, so you get 10% more weapon damage, 20% more recharge rate. When in firing a charged weapon within 0.5 seconds of reaching a full charge, increase the damage dealt by 100%. And then we're using a Deadeye, so you get more gun accuracy by 30%. And you get gun critical hit damage is increased by 25%. And then for the skill tree, we are using 1 in fast hands, so you get more reload speed and windfall chance. 1 in insurance, so you get fortune stacks when your shield recharges. And then we're using 3 in alchemy, so you have more elemental effect chance. 1 in go for broke. Whenever Cash would gain a fortune stack, he gains a stack of an additional stack, which is really nice. We're using 2 in Sound of Range for a little bit more critical chance for our action skills and guns and ordnance. And then we're using 5 in Trick Takers, so we get 35% more elemental damage. 1 in Late Scratch, so whenever Cash interpreted Windfall, he fails to gain a fortune stack instead. And then we're using Double Team, so you have an extra augment. 5 in High Roller, so you get gun damage, some more action skill cooldown you have. 5 in Vigorous, so you get bonus damage dealt of random elemental damage, at 35% of damage dealt, which is really nice. And then we're using Dealer's Buff. Whenever Cash gains a fortune, restore his action skill cooldown, which is really, really good. And then we're using 5 in Charm Bracelet, so you get 18% more skill damage and 24% more skill damage per bone totem. And then we're using Ready the Roll. So you get more axe skill cooldown rate, not super important, but you get more axe skill duration, helps keep your bone totems alive more. And then we're using one in luckless. Whenever cash activates action skill enemy near the enemies, bone totems become jinx, and it takes increased damage for all jinx enemies, which is really good. Two, and before you need, she knows you're dead, so you get more skill damage and more movement speed per bone totem. Good. And then we're using double team, so we have Miller augment slot, 3 in bone mode ticket because the class mod puts 2. This has active skill rotation and bone totem health. This gives your bone totems more active skill rotation with diminishing returns and more bone totem health, which is really nice. Helps you get a lot of gun damage. And then you 4 and can't stop winning, so you have more gun critical chance and active skill critical chance. And then we're using 3 in turn of fate because the class mod puts 4. You get life steal of 63% of damage dealt, which is really nice. We're using 3 in fortune favor, so you get more gun damage and skill damage, which is really good the more overshield you have. Then we're using the wilds. While Windfall is active, Cash and his companions deal bonus random elemental damage, which is really good. And then we're using for specializations the best defense. The Vault Hunter gains increased damage dealt based on the full initial shield or health, whichever has higher maximum capacity. And then we're using Tripwire. Reduce ordnance cooldown whenever action skill is activated, which you can get your ordnance back super easy with this build because dice are super spammable. And then we're using Riddle You This, you get 1% gun damage per stack, which is insane for this build. Honestly, really nice. And then we're using Groundbreaker, which is actually really insane for the build. This build can do some pretty crazy Groundbreaker stuff, and so can the Spread Launcher. So the cool thing about this build is right now we have extra projectiles, so it's kind of unfair test, but like, basically you double amp, and you just throw a bunch of dice, you let your Vigorous get stacked up, and we see our Vigorous is stacking up right now. And as you can see, we got a bunch of Vigorous stacks, and we shoot. And as you can see, the Spread Launcher is doing millions and millions of damage of random elements. Fire, there's just all kinds of elements in there, and it's just crazy. It can one shot some bosses. Well, we did what? 323 million. I don't know, I'm not good. There's 32 million. Yeah, 32 million in that one shot, though. And that's pretty insane, honestly. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe. If you guys would like to become a member, I hope you guys appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.